The Nintendo Switch. Yeah, it's a pretty impressive piece of hardware, and all in a form factor where portability is the name of the game. But with what it's packing under the hood, it's actually got more in common with the last gen Xbox 360 than it does with the more recent PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. But running a 7-watt chip, it's able to deliver some of your favorite games all in a bite-sized package. Just to get an idea of exactly what I'm talking about, this is the recent Crash Bandicoot remaster, running on a docked Switch. While it's missing most of the graphical bells and whistles present on the PlayStation or Xbox, the final image is undeniably Crash Bandicoot, and it plays all the same. Now, with this level of software optimization in mind, what can we expect from future portable consoles? And what can we expect the games to look like? So, to get the first question out of the way, based on what the Nintendo Switch is packing under the hood, it's pretty reasonable to assume that all future Switch revisions will utilize Nvidia-derived hardware. While the results in this case were quite impressive, looking at Microsoft and Sony, they have a long track record of integrating AMD hardware into their fixed machines. While AMD does offer quite a few mobile Zen-based CPUs as of 2019, there isn't really anything that sips the amount of power needed to make it a viable inclusion in a Switch-like device. With the recent reveal of Project Scarlett and the imminent announcement of the PlayStation 5, I could easily see a new portable companion type device that would allow you to get the full console experience on the go. Now, let's not make two ways about it. If Microsoft or Sony did have one of these portable companion devices in the works, there's no doubt that the machine would be a streaming device rather than a machine designed to run software natively. This just makes more sense from a cost and energy consumption point of view. But just for giggles and grins, we put together a system with components that we think would be roughly equivalent to the power level of a prospective mobile machine. Now on this poor PC, we didn't concern ourselves with power consumption, and instead we were trying to target a low-level system with performance that we think would be relatively close to, let's say, an Xbox Portable or a new PSP. Starting up with the CPU, we chose an FX 4300, and we underclocked the thing to, wait for it, 2.3 GHz. Yeah, this thing was a nightmare to boot. With 6 gigs of DDR3 and an RX 550, yeah, not exactly the dream machine, but for what we wanted to do, it'll get the job done. Now keep in mind that this horribly underpowered PC is designed to run games with reasonable performance and at a resolution targeted at a mobile-focused display. This means we're gonna be trying to get the most out of games at 720p or lower, which matches what the Nintendo Switch is targeted at. Now let's not keep you waiting and let's take a look at some games. Black Ops 4 on our pseudo Xbox Portable isn't great. 720p, low settings, and 30 FPS. Yeah, it's kinda a tough pill to swallow, but hey, it's Black Ops 4 and it's relatively playable. Drop the resolution down to 360p and we're able to hit a somewhat stable 60 FPS, but CPU bound scenes really hit the frame rate hard. But hey, it would be Black Ops 4 on the go, and I'd love to have the zombies mode playable on a train ride or in the car on the way to Purdue. Now looking at Far Cry 5, and yeah, 720p at the lowest settings, we can hit a relatively solid 30 FPS, and if you enable the dynamic resolution scaler, yeah, things actually get worse. Even on my 8GB 1070, enabling the resolution scaler doesn't fully stabilize performance, but that's probably due to the fact that the feature doubles your VRAM requirement. Yeah, I know, it's kinda weird. But at 720p, Far Cry 5 actually doesn't look too bad, and I can imagine myself being perfectly content playing this game at these settings on a screen the size of a tablet. Now, no matter what, 60 FPS is just completely off the table, mostly because our FX 4300 is being choked by a relatively severe underclock. Now, if you're looking for a competitive game on the go, then Apex Legends is probably what you're looking for, and it's unfortunately absent on the Nintendo Switch. But on our pseudo system, it actually ran pretty well. At 720p at the lowest settings, we were able to get really close to 60 FPS, and setting the resolution to target 60 FPS actually wasn't all that bad. Sure, the geometry in the distance looked like a pixelated mess, but it's still Apex Legends, and at 60 FPS it's pretty enjoyable. Now this game at these settings won't be winning any Graphics of the Year awards, but on a smaller screen you'd probably be completely overlooking smaller details such as texture filtering and relatively low range LOD draws. But if you're playing against Xbox Scarlett users, you'd definitely be at a disadvantage, as you can't see very far into the distance before everything just becomes a homogeneous blur. Really, if there's one lesson to take away from this, it's that I'd just rather have a portable streaming system rather than a device that natively renders your games. I mean, I'd rather have some compression artifacts on a 1080p image rather than a natively rendered 720 or even 640p image. It would also be way easier on our wallets for Microsoft to basically put together some pretty bare-bones decoding boards, rather than develop something that is essentially a stripped-down desktop-level processing core. Just think, you could bring what is essentially the full power of your Xbox Scarlett with you wherever you go. That to me just sounds more appealing than having some piece of hardware that's basically a severely cut down PS4 in your pocket. While in the here and now that sounds completely awesome, moving into the 2020s, the age and general power of the hardware will really start to show its age when running next-gen games. But based on the few tests we ran today, I still think it would be an interesting target for Microsoft and Sony, and it would be incredibly impressive if they managed to fit the next generation levels of power into what's essentially a tablet. In fact, I'd go as far to say that it would be one of the most impressive computer engineering feats in the past 10 years. I mean, hey, look at the Nintendo Switch. We got some pretty incredible results from games such as Doom and Wolfenstein 2. Who knows what we could get from AMD and Microsoft and even Sony. But that's really all the information we have to share. If you enjoyed this video and want to support us over here at Proceu Tech, then please consider joining our Patreon. For as little as $1 per month, you can get an inside look into the behind the scenes work that goes into these videos, and you can help work with me directly to decide video topics and help write scripts. If you are interested in supporting us, the link to our Patreon is in the link in the description. So if you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and click the bell icon so you'll be notified about all our future uploads. And once again, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.